Hello YouTube, my name is Nimrod and on November 28th I went through a 3400 FUE surgery at Motion Clinic in Seoul, Korea. I'll be putting a little compilation together of my experience and my results so far, and I'll be sharing more as time goes on. So to start, I'll show you guys my hair before the surgery. You can see I was losing hair quite quickly at the front as well as in the back. I think I was about a Norwood 5.5, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and I can show you, these are the photos right after, day after the surgery. You can see the front, the left and the right side, as well as the donor region and the crown. I was concerned with both regions, and during the discussion process, we were not sure whether to focus on just the front and the mid or do what we did here, but I opted for this as I think that taking finasteride and minoxidil will help me. Prior to this surgery, I did not take any sort of hair treatment, minoxidil, or anything else. Um, so these photos you see right now are the next morning after the surgery, and these photos are a few days later once the redness turned more into sort of more dried blood. It was about, I think, a week after the surgery. And then in the next part of the video, I'm going to get more into the details of the actual steps of the surgery day with some footage as well from my surgery day. Some of it might be a bit, some people might find it disturbing, or it's like you can see some blood and some needles. So if you feel uncomfortable, feel free not to watch it. This is just a little warning. So I started my day at around 8:30 in the morning at Motion Clinic. I met Kim, who I've been emailing back and forth for several months, asking questions and arranging the details, as well as the technician who was doing the drawing for my head for my transplant. So we spent some time understanding how many grafts are needed and discussing uh, where they would go, as well as showing some. Looking at some older photos from when I was a younger kid when I had more hair. I suggest bringing that with you when you come.
Slightly, slightly.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know why it bothered me so much as a kid.
I don't know.
Is there more photos there that maybe are better?
Well, you can see the
Yes.
slants a little more
Yes.
there.
박사님 안녕하세요.
Next, after about an hour or so of doing that, we met with the doctor himself. I just go with Dr. Bach, um, and we discussed the actual transplant itself with him, discussed any concerns we had. I didn't have any major concerns, but just a chance to meet the doctor before we get to the OR.
Alright, and here we will check your donor area now. And doctor said when finish this procedure, please take in the medication for hair loss.
Yes, definitely.
Now here we're going to have a bit, like I mentioned, some needles and blood. If you're uncomfortable, feel free to skip. So in this part, you can see that they're doing the actual anesthesia in the donor region. I'd say for anyone who's nervous or scared about the surgery, this part is the part that will hurt the most. It's about, at max, I'd say 10 minutes of pain. You can see they're using a vibration tool to help relieve any sort of pain and try and distract your senses and your pain receptors while they're giving you the anesthesia. I also had a stress ball that I was able to squeeze that helped deal with the pain. It wasn't anything where you were screaming. It was just it just felt like strong pinches, I'd say. And it was all over within 10 minutes. So I'd say this is like the most painful part and the part that maybe you'll hate the most, but it's really not that bad. Like once it's over, the rest of this day is very smooth and quite painless. So once we were done that, we started with the actual graft extraction. So my head has already been shaved here, as you can see. Um, this was done in between the steps I mentioned earlier. So this is where the doctor is extracting the actual hairs, individual follicles, and after that, the nurses themselves and technicians help actually pull out the hairs that were uh, selected to be extracted. Now, this is the part that I said can get a little gory, so please feel free to skip if you want to. So this step took about 4 hours to complete. Once it was done, I got a chance to go back into my private room and take about half an hour lunch break. Lunch was provided by the clinic. I was also provided a toothbrush, so I went and brushed my teeth, which was a really nice touch. I felt much more refreshed. It was, I felt ready for the next part after I had my little break. So next, now we're laying down facing up, and you can see here we're again getting anesthesia shots. These were much less painful than the donor region. Again, I had the stress ball. Some areas hurt more than the others, but that's just what comes with getting anesthesia in a sensitive area. The next step is the slit incision part, which is where the small slits are created in the recipient regions where the donor hair will later be placed and positioned accordingly. And then we have the actual hair follicles being placed into my head. You can see here some final touch, some finishing up shots. So this is when I was about done. The second half of the surgery took about 6 hours, so it was about 10 hours in total. I got to the clinic at 8:30 in the morning, and I was done at 7:30 p.m. So quite a long day, but you're taken care of, and you won't feel any stress. I fell asleep for the second half. I fell asleep about 3 times, is what I was told. I think I even snored, but I don't recall. Here's some more finishing up touches, and then the doctor uh, letting me know that we're all done. I'm good to go.
All finished. Okay. Thanks for finished. Okay. Just a minute. 됐어? 다 됐어? 여기 하자 빨리. 사진 다 찍었어?
네. 영상 촬영 중이에요.
Obviously, my eyes were covered, so I was a little bit disoriented and getting used to the light and moving again after laying down for so long. I didn't take any breaks for either of the sessions, so I just laid for 6 straight hours and laid for 4 straight hours. Here you can see the doctors trying to show me the actual transplant results before they're all covered up.
It's been a long day. Thanks. So patient. Let's go.
거울 보여드려야 되나?
It's currently day 21, and I'll say that I don't really feel any discomfort or pain. I'm continuously washing my head every day with Johnson's baby shampoo and just being very gentle and paying attention to the area. I haven't seen any sort of hair falling out yet, so I'm curious to see if that comes soon. And then this is me the next morning. You can see how I arrived at the clinic, all bandaged up, This is the first clean, so they'll gently remove all these bandages and examine the area and give it a very, very gentle wash. I did these washes every single day during my time in Korea. I stayed there for 10 days. On the 10th day, we did scab removal, and I left Korea that same afternoon. Along with the wash comes laser therapy for about 10-15 minutes, as you can see here. I'm happy to answer questions below in the chat, and I'll be updating with further videos in the coming months as I see progress and as things change.